We're going to look at simple keyframing in 3D Max. This is a way to animate objects to create some pretty good animations. It does take a little bit of time. So we're going to start with a box. We'll put a plane under our box, and we're going to work with just the box. Now with keyframe animation, right down here on your slider, you see by default it starts at keyframe 0, and we have all the way up to 100 frames to work with. We can add more frames by clicking right down here under the time configuration, and right here under end time we can bump that up to 200 frames, and if you'll notice down here the scale changes, and now the maximum frames we have is 200. Right above this bar here, it tells you what frame you're on out of how many frames you have. So we're on frame 0 of 200. If we slide it up here, and we're on frame 77 of 200. Now really the only big thing about keyframing is the order that you do things in. So we're going to start this box where it's at here. And we're going to move this box just for this first example. We're just going to move it forward. So we're going to make sure that our keyframe is at the place we want it to start moving. So we're going to get it to start moving at 0. We want to turn this auto key on. Now what auto key does is it's going to fill in all the frames in between where we set keys at. So for instance, we're at 0, we're going to set a key. And if you'll notice right underneath this slider here, right here, there's a little box. You can click on that box, it'll turn white. You can slide that box, which we'll do later. You can delete it by hitting delete on your keyboard. So that's going to be our first point. We're going to go to keyframe 100. We're going to slide our box forward where we want it to be at key 100. And then we're just going to click the set key to make sure that it took. Now if I move my slider here, you can see we've got a little box right there indicating we have a key there. And now if we drag our slider backwards, you can see the box is moving the way we moved it originally. Now, if we take this little box here and we slide it forward, I'm just clicking on it and dragging it to 200. Notice that now our box moves slower, and at frame 200, it reaches the point where we set our key. So let's play through that. I moved it back to 100. I'm going to hit play right down here. Let's turn our auto key off right now. We'll hit play, and notice a couple of things happen. First, our box moves forward. Next, our slider moves, and it loops through, so you can see this over and over again to make sure you have it correct. And notice the box stops moving once it reaches 100. So we're going to drag it back to 200. We're going to play it again, and notice the box moves much slower, actually about half the speed usually. And it doesn't really stop moving much because it loops through and continues to move once it comes back to frame 0. Now, if you notice that the box actually accelerates here and then decelerates, we can fix that. The way we're going to fix it is we're going to come down here to Open Mini Curve Editor. And you can see right down here you have this red curve. Now when we play this, you're looking at the timeline again, but you're looking at it a little differently here. This is how the box is accelerating and then how it's decelerating. So you notice that the curve flattens out here and it's a little flatter down here. Now the way we're going to fix this acceleration deceleration thing is we're going to come over here to this node where this red line is. We're going to click on it and we're going to choose set tangents to linear. Now notice what that did was it straightened this curve out. I'm going to slide, I'm clicking my middle mouse wheel just like I would pan up here in your viewport, pulling this down so I can find this node, and I'm going to click set tangents to linear. Now when I play my box, you get the constant velocity without any acceleration or deceleration. It's important to point out if you don't see this curve, you need to pan down right over here. You need to find the object that you're working with. So for instance, we only have a box and a plane. We're dealing with the box and we're dealing with the position of the box. And you can see if I just select the X position, that's the curve that we're looking for. You can look at multiple things at the same time, but it's the X position that we're actually manipulating. If we were to move our box on the Y or the Z axis, we would also want to check these.